Deepak, what has been the journey starting in 2009 to now? How has the journey been for the company? How has the journey been for you starting in Ahmedabad, today in so many states? Talk to us about all of it.
Absolutely. So, Vinny, it's really exciting, and I'm really happy to share this excitement with all of you here in Gujarat. So, welcome again to you and your team. So, when Aviral, Rakesh, and I decided to start Light Microfinance back in 2009, that time Gujarat didn't have much of microfinance and meso finance. And it was a time when people weren't coming that much to Gujarat to do this financing. And I myself come from Gujarat and from a very small village in North Gujarat. All three of us come from fairly modest backgrounds, and we were very clear that thanks to education, we wanted to make an impact specifically in this segment and particularly in women's empowerment. So we started our operations here in Gujarat, and 2009 was, of course, very early days. Just when we started out, of course, we get hit with the whole Andhra crisis.
Yeah.
You will remember the entire company and the entire industry went into a tizzy. But we were committed, and so we stayed the course. And when the new Maligaon committee report came out, we started growing the company again. And we've not looked back since then, even though we've had almost 4 or 5 or 6 different crises, from demonetization to ILFS to COVID-1, COVID-2, COVID-3. But each time Light has come out much stronger. It's one of those Hormesis things. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. Exactly, right? So and I'm very proud that today we are about 3,500 employees spread across 9 different states in 246 different branches.
Absolutely, that's very, very interesting. So, when you started only, was it in for the state of, Gujarat, or was it in the city of Ahmedabad? And today you are in 9 states?
Yes.
So, that's covering a lot of the rural areas as well.
Yes.
So, how did you start in one state? How do you move on? And obviously, there's still a risk because you're giving it to people who need the money, but, how do you get your collections back? How does that work as well?
Yeah. So, Vinny, it's actually, that goes to the crux of any lending business for that matter, right? I mean, I've been involved with SBI and many other banks and financial services for a long time. The crux of it all is your selection of your customer.
Yeah.
We're very, very careful. We're very particular about it. The rest of the industry sees average rejection rates of roughly 30 to 35%. Our rejection rates are in the 60 to 70%.
Okay, so that screening process is
the screening process, the underwriting process, the kind of data we collect, right? Most other people don't collect as much data. We have 40 to 50 different parameters that we collect on every single one of our borrowers. And then we have an AI-driven algorithm sitting in the back end, which then goes and processes and does credit scoring. So that's, the first part on the selection side, right? And then, of course, there is the collection part on the other side, right? Because giving money is the easy part.
Yeah, there is the tough part that your actual work starts after that, I believe.
Right. Exactly, right? So you have to assess your customer for not just ability to pay, but also intention to pay, right? And then after that, we actually have a very solid team with a very rigorous and a disciplined approach to collections. Right? So we have collections on a particular day. Our field executives will go out and meet them at least once a month. We started out every week, but of course now the women borrowers are also very busy. Every time they have to come to the center meeting, that takes time away from their livelihood. Right. So we are sensitive to what their requirements are. So now we change it to once a month. But the follow-up is extremely rigorous. We have a tele-verification team over here. We have an entire support team that supports our field executives in the field. And anything where there is delinquency, our team actually follows up rigorously. So, you have to be extremely sensitive, because this is, you are serving women borrowers, you're serving rural areas, you're serving people who are, relatively of meager means and who are financially excluded, right? So even from a social perspective, you have to be very sensitive about how you approach this. So obviously there are strict guidelines and that, the company policies that are there on how they actually go out and follow up. So if there's delinquency, we follow up quite rigorously. And I know whatever is measured and has metrics, that gets done. So,
Absolutely. What I want to know also is, starting as individual loans, where are we headed now? What is the strategy for the company in terms of expansion and also in terms of digital side? Would you be going more digital now? The nation is going digital.
Yeah.
Even they are going digital in rural, urban. Is that something now we will focus on as a company, or you will focus on as a company?
Yeah, so Vinny, that's a very good question, because that goes into the heart of the strategy of any company, right? So in our case, 2 things, or I would sort of divide it into 2 areas. One is obviously do more of what you are doing well. So our first and foremost thing is, whatever we do, we want to do well, and we want to be the best in the industry at that. So even in the early days, there were many credit rating agencies who were saying, oh, you guys are not going to many more states, and you should be doing more, diversify. And we said, until we hit 500 crores, we're going to do this and only this and nothing else, right? So literally, laser sharp vision on it. Now that we're of course much bigger, we have expanded out into new areas. So do more of what we do very well, which is expand into new states, right? So we started with Gujarat, we went into, of course, Rajasthan, we went to Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, now we're in UP and most of the northwestern states, and of course, Odisha and Jharkhand. So that's one area, that's a geographical expansion. The second thing is, which is in classic marketing, you say, right, which is follow your customer.
Absolutely.
So what is my customer doing? So we watch our customer like hawks, right? In every angle, but specifically in your case, what more are we doing? So we're trying to look at what is it that our customer wants more, how is their behavior changing? So with this entire digital movement of India in general, the economy going from, and heading towards the $5 trillion economy, and infrastructure being laid out and connectivity improving dramatically, not just digitally, but even physically, right? Because of that, there are huge opportunities. So my customer is also looking at it and saying, I have got now 92% of my customers have smartphones.
Yeah,
right?
so now we are moving
and
there.
Maybe the women themselves are not operating it, but their husband, their son, daughter, whatever, the younger generation, somebody's operating it, right? They're seeing Paytm, over there, they're seeing, all the dairy receipts coming in into their accounts. So these are things that you observe very carefully and say, my customer is moving online. Now, the moment my customer moves online, then you know that they're going to be hit with all these other lending apps.
And that's what we're there. Yeah, you cannot miss out there.
I cannot miss out there. So we are servicing our existing customers in the online world.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's very important. And to speak towards that, 91% customer retention is what we have today. Wow. Right? So we're very happy about that, because that's an indication to us that we are doing something right about that. So that's sort of the second thing. The third thing, which is again a classic marketing thing, is what adjacent products can you offer to them, right? So my customers are saying, okay, you started out by giving me 10,000, 20,000 rupee loans, and over the last 7, 8, 9 years, you've grown up to like now 60, 70, 80,000, 1 lakh rupee loans, but our requirements are more.
Yeah.
So now we are going into, fine, we'll start giving you 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 5 lakh loans, and that gets into the whole space of secured lending. And that's the whole MSME lending space.
Where you will...
Yeah, that's where we're heading now.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.